that work? No. I have to get closer? Is that bad? Thank you. This is audience participation. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. My name is Jennifer Byrne, and I am the new president of Madison College. My colleagues are going to let me know when I can stop saying that I'm new. But I started in July, and I want to welcome you warmly to our Goodman South campus. And I want to thank everybody who took the time to be with us tonight. I want to thank the Capital Times and all of the sponsors. As many of you know, my predecessor, Dr. Daniels, was one of the most important architects of Madison College, and particularly this segment of Madison College. And it's my honor and privilege to be able to follow in his footsteps and carry on the work that he has always done. I want to invite everybody here today to a reception that we're holding October 1st at 5 o'clock at this campus to have more conversation about the future of Madison College with me. We're inviting community members. And if you are interested in attending, we would love to have you. And if you see Tina, she will take your name and make sure that you get an invitation. It's a joy to see so many partners and change makers gathered here. At Madison College, we believe deeply in creating pathways and allowing every student to thrive, not just in the classroom, but in their careers and communities. And this apprenticeship model is a special way for students to thrive. We're proud to be at the forefront of innovation in apprenticeships, especially in healthcare, where new models are helping meet urgent workforce needs while giving student real-world experiences. Our healthcare apprenticeships are growing by leaps and bounds, and we are so very excited to support our students and our healthcare partners in doing so. These successes are only possible because of strong partnerships with employers, educators, and community leaders. And together we're building systems that work for learners and for the labor market. We say that Madison College educates students in the community for the community. We want our students to thrive at Madison College and then stay in the community and take good care of us in whatever profession they choose. And that's really important to our mission. Every apprenticeship we support is a step toward equity, opportunity, and long-term success for our students. Their stories are inspiring, and I think you may hear some tonight, and they keep us evolving and improving. I look forward to the insights that the panel will share tonight. I want to thank my colleagues from Madison College who are here, my colleagues from higher ed and nonprofits, from the journalism community, and from the greater Madison community who are here because they care. And we thank you so much for your support of Madison College. Now I would like to introduce to you our Vice President of Student Success Pathways, Tina Ajedo, who will make some further comments.
Not too many more comments, just a couple. So Valentina Ajedo, Tina's just fine. I am the Vice President for Student Access Pathways. I have in my portfolio also is a Goodman South Campus and Commercial Avenue. And it's a pleasure to welcome you here tonight. We are happy to host this event, which is the only one that happens off of the UW campus. I just have to let you know that. And this is the 4th year of us hosting. And last year, we had a conversation around childcare, and I just wanted to give you a brief update that you probably saw in the news that the city of Madison is supporting us in this work. They transferred fire station number 6 to us for $1, which really allowed us then, along with some other partnerships and funding, to really be able to bring these services, incredibly important services, to our students and our community. And so we are going to be doing our ribbon cutting in January, which is going to be cold, but we're not going to be outside. We'll be inside. So that is extremely exciting news. So for those of you who were here last year and supported us in that work, I just want to let you know that it is very much coming to life. And you'll see it as you exit the building today, but then also across the street, you might remember, I think it was our first session that we did, Mike, on the Southside Renaissance. And today you see evidence of that in several different places. Reverend G's Center for Black Excellence is, I don't know, they're quite done, but they're almost there up the street here on Badger. Centro Hispano got a new building over across the way on Cypress. The Black Business Hub came up. The DMV has been located there. Summit Credit Union is there. They've got several businesses there. And then right directly across from us, we are going to have some apartment buildings come up that are going to include both senior housing, the new fire station, public health, and then housing for a significant number of families. Still not quite sure what the final number ended up being, but it was at least 500 the last time I knew. So just lots of changes in this neighborhood, and we are so excited to have been at the heart of that, to have served as a catalyst. And so someone was talking earlier about Madison College being a connector, and I really see that. You see that played out every day in how we do our work and how you see the rest of the area really be developed. So I wanted to give you that update, and then I also wanted to give a thanks to the sponsors, to the people who make this possible. Again, the only session off the UW-Madison campus, so it's really important for us to be able to make it attractive to you. So thank you for the food. And then also thank you to Ascendium, because without their support from every year, this wouldn't be possible. So thank you. Brett is in the room today. And then, thank you. Brittany Corde is going to be moderating the session. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you. And if you are interested in attending the October 1st reception for Dr. Byrne, have conversations with her, let me know, and I'll get your contact info. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Very excited to be here. My name is Brittany Corde, and I serve as a Senior Program Officer at Ascendium Education Group. I oversee all of Ascendium's work around registered apprenticeship investments, and very excited to be moderating this panel tonight around high-quality apprenticeships addressing workforce needs in Wisconsin and beyond. We're here because apprenticeships are really gaining new attention both in Wisconsin and across the country as one of the most effective ways to connect people to good jobs and help employers find the talent that they need. Across Wisconsin and nationally, employers are facing real challenges in hiring and also retaining skilled workers in industries like healthcare, IT, advanced manufacturing. And at the same time, workers and learners are really looking for pathways that allow them to build skills, earn while they learn, and have access to stable, well-paying jobs without taking on large amounts of debt. And apprenticeships really sit right at the intersection of all of those things, right? So they provide paid on-the-job training coupled with classroom instruction so that people are learning and earning and moving into in-demand jobs all at once. And at Ascendium, our mission is really to expand opportunities for learners from low-income backgrounds. And we really see apprenticeships as a critical piece of the solution. Our work supports partnerships between employers, training providers, and community-based organizations that deliver technical training and also provide wraparound supports for learners. Those wraparound supports, I feel like we all know them at this point, but transportation, childcare, mentoring. We'll talk a little bit more about those wraparound supports for apprentices during the panel. And we also focus on improving data to better understand learner outcomes and shifting narratives so that apprenticeships are recognized as high quality pathways and not seen as a second tier option. So for tonight's panel, we'll explore a couple of key conversation questions. The first is around why are apprenticeships such an important strategy right now? What makes partnerships between employers, colleges, and community organizations work well? And what kinds of careers are available through apprenticeships, and who is a good fit for an apprenticeship? Very fortunate tonight to have a diverse group of leaders with us representing government, education, healthcare, and community organizations. And their perspectives really reflect the cross-sector collaboration that make apprenticeships possible. So would welcome our panelists to come on stage. First, I'm delighted to welcome David Polk, the director of, you can all come at the same time. I'm like announcing you like a b-ball game. Okay. David Polk, the director of Wisconsin Department of Workforce Development's Bureau of Apprenticeship Standards, who will help ground us in the conversation around the statewide perspective. Next is Michael Johnson, the president and CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County, who brings deep community lens and firsthand experience supporting young people accessing opportunity. We're also joined by Darcy Willis, Associate Dean of the School of Health Sciences here at Madison College, who has been helping build apprenticeship pathways in one of the fastest growing fields in the state. And finally, we'll hear from Jennifer Krantz, career coach at SSM Health St. Mary's, who brings the employer perspective to our conversation. And before we get started, and while we get started, a housekeeping item: you will see on the ends of all of the rows some note cards with a couple pencils. So if you have questions throughout the conversation, you can jot them down. I think someone will bring them to me, and then we'll answer them throughout and at the end of the panel. Oh, okay. Perfect. Okay, well, very excited to be joined on stage with all of you. I think would love to start the conversation with just having you introduce yourselves, talk a little bit more about your organizations, and tell us, why you think registered apprenticeship are important and why your organization chooses to participate. And I think we are going to start with David on this question.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. As Brittany alluded to, my name is David Polk. I'm the Director of Apprenticeship for the state of Wisconsin at DWD. I also serve at the national level as president for the Apprenticeship Directors Association across the country. NASDAT is the acronym. And this is very important to me because I'm an apprenticeship completer myself. I'd gone through the program, started back in the late 1900s in my program. But I think, if you guys remember, probably 10 years ago, let's go back 10 years ago, the rant and rave around the conversation of workforce was the skills gap, right? You guys remember that conversation? The skills gap is coming. The baby boomers are retiring, and they're going to leave the workforce before they download their skills to the next generation, right? And then that all got exacerbated by this little illness that went around the country 5 years ago. But we need a way to synergize skill training and have it regulated, which is what my agency does at the state, and ensure that the employers that are at the table for registered apprenticeship and the apprentices have a good, well-run system of executing and pushing skill sets down to the next generation. Now, we've been doing that for a very, very long time in the skilled trades, which is my background as a plumber. But now, because of the skills gap being exacerbated, and also data shows us that right now Wisconsin is losing more people than we're bringing in, we have to skill people up and synergize that training, meaning that employers that are at the table can't quite wait until an individual completes all of their formalized schooling. They need someone working in their doors ASAP. So to synergize that training, we want to combine on-the-job training with the classroom education that is needed for certification and synergize that into a registered apprenticeship. So I think over the past 10 to 15 years, we've watched this significant need grow in the workforce, which then has pushed down to more occupations looking at the registered apprenticeship model in order to scale up their workforce and get them certified in different occupations. More recently, And I love the fact that we're having this conversation here at Madison College, because Madison College has been doing just an amazing job in being innovative, specifically around healthcare. But we're growing so many more new occupations outside of the skilled trades. When I go and I talk to young people about apprenticeship, I always use the quote that a registered apprenticeship is not your grandfather's apprenticeship anymore. And that's because it's become more and more innovative. And Wisconsin has led the way. In my work when I was at the technical college system, we were the first in the country to build an arborist registered apprenticeship. And from there, we've been moving and transitioning and growing our system to record numbers. The past 3 years, we've broken records in both our youth apprenticeship pathways and our registered apprenticeship pathways. And we're looking to, little peek behind the curtain, we're looking to break 18,000 apprentices this year. We're really, really close, which would be another state record for us. But that's all because of the fervent need of employers and the innovation of all of our partners from the community, the technical college, and the fervent need of the employers that are at the table.
I'm Michael Johnson. I'm the president and CEO of Boys and Girls Clubs of Dane County, and I've been in this role now for 16 years. Let me first say thank you to each and every last one of you. I walked in this room today, and I said with Stacey Abrams having a workshop at the same time, I thought maybe we would have one or two people, and I thought they would be Boys and Girls Club folks. So thank you all so much, for coming. For a long time, serving in this role in Dane County, I think we're the largest nonprofit funder of our public schools in Dane County. So Boys and Girls Clubs over the last 15 years have raised about $40 million for MMSD, helping Black and brown and low-income white kids graduate from high school and go on to college. And over the last 15 years, about 98% of our kids have graduated from high school, and we now have kids in 25 states across the United States who are persistent in graduating from college. But the missing piece that we had was that we did not have a pathway for young people who do not go to college. And there's two people in this room that helped us do that fairly quickly. One is Dr. Leslie Petty, who don't like me bragging about her. She works here at Madison College, and she serves as the chair of our Workforce Center. And Alan Branch, who I recruited from Kentucky, is our vice president of Workforce. And they have done a really good job right now serving about 2,000 young people in Dane County and introducing them to the workforce, to the trades, and letting them know that there's opportunities outside of college. So if college is not a pathway, here are other options for you to earn a decent wage for your family. 3 years ago, there was not one Boys and Girls Club in the United States that had a workforce center. So I said, we're going to build the largest youth workforce center in the 125-year history of Boys and Girls Clubs of America. And we did it in 2 years. And we raised $35 million in 16 months. And what we wanted to do was to not only build a state-of-the-art facility, we did that. And now the Department of Labor, Boys and Girls Clubs of America, and the National Builders Association is replicating what we've done here in Madison and 22 other cities across the United States. And so why apprenticeships are important to me, I asked Alan, I said, just share with me like some of the credentials that our young people earn when they graduate from our program. One, we try to remove barriers. So we provide transportation for every single kid that come into our apprenticeship program. Two, we also compensate them. So if they're working at Burger King or McDonald's or got some other job, we want to make sure that we compensate them and they treat this like a job. Three, if they miss 2 days unexcused, they're out the program. Four, We provide childcare if they have kids to try to remove every barrier that they may persist. And what I love about this center, we didn't go at it alone. We have several partners from Madison College, from the Latino Workforce Academy to the Builders Association. And then our Workforce Center is governed by local business and community leaders. It's a separate 501c3 from Boys and Girls Clubs. But when these young people go through our program, they get the OSHA 10 certification, the first aid CPR AED certification, flagger training, fall protection, CDL preparation. One of the things that we learned from all the teachers in this region, that there was no simulators. And these simulators are like $150,000, $200,000 each. So we bought them to make sure that we were bringing value add to school districts across Dane County. So they get the CDL preparation because we have a big simulator there, construction mathematics, basic blueprint reading, green construction, financial literacy, soft skills, and tool identification. And then finally, I would say what was important, I grew up in the projects in Chicago, and I grew up and went to one of the lowest performing high schools in the state of Illinois. And when I graduated, I could not read and I could not write at proficiency. And there was a local junior college on the west side of Chicago called Malcolm X College. And it took me 2.5 years because I couldn't test into Malcolm X. So I had to take 2.5 years of preparatory courses. And then ultimately I got my associate's degree, my master's in business, and about 20 other certifications from Harvard Business School and a bunch of other places. I say all that to say that when young people come into these apprenticeship programs, we have to teach them about reading and math and make sure that that foundation is solid. So when they go, and even soft skills, so when they go into the workforce, they're prepared and that they're ready. And that's what we're trying to do at the Boys and Girls Clubs of Dane County.
Hi, I'll do my best to follow those two. It's nice being here. I'm Jennifer Krantz. I'm a career coach on the workforce development team at SSM Health. Obviously, it's a local healthcare provider across Wisconsin, but other regions as well. My role there is to provide leadership and support for initiatives that seek to close workforce gaps and promote employee growth through our internal training programs, which includes, and also internal and also external, which includes registered apprenticeships for adults, and also our youth apprenticeship program for our youth. So on regularly and daily basis, I have the honor to collaborate with our internal leaders, our educational partners, and employees, especially the employees and externals that we want to bring in pursuing career advancement opportunities. So it's a great opportunity. It's a great position to be in. Why are registered apprenticeships? Why do we engage in registered apprenticeships, and why is that a good solution? I would say first and foremost, they're designed. It's an earn while you learn program. So that's a model that we really look at seeing as a strategic positive solution. It supports a broader, more inclusive population, especially for individuals that need to maintain an income while pursuing career growth. It also benefits those who thrive in a hands-on learning environment. So those are key reasons, and I also, from my heart, feel like another key feature is that strong connection that is between the apprentices, the employers, and the educational partners. I think that connection and that sense of belonging really builds. It's really built into the registered apprentice design, and it's a collaborative approach for everyone sharing the success of that apprentice.
I don't know if I have anything left to say after those three. No, I'm Darcy Willis. I'm the Associate Dean for School of Health Sciences at Madison College. And so I've been fortunate enough to work a lot with Jenny and David and me and Michael here. But as an organization, or as Madison College, being able to provide that educational piece So as we were talking, that educational piece and having those pathways, not only with the didactic training, so in the classroom, but then that on-the-job learning. And so having that opportunity for those students to have the apprenticeship. And so they're doing the work, they're doing the training, but they also have that job and that security and that knowledge and understanding they're getting paid for that. And so it just makes it all that more of a better service for them to be able to have that ability and that opportunity to be able to have that education. So for Madison College, I mean, we're a great avid supporter of career advancement for all students, and definitely too with the evolving healthcare needs. That's kind of what speaking to for myself here in the health science field, even though that Madison College has a number of different apprenticeships. And so we have that, and it's ever evolving and always a growing need. If you look at the statistics for healthcare industries, there's always increased shortages as you look out, even 2, 3, 5 years out, that there is going to be an increased need. And so having that at Madison College, being able to work with our partners and so that we can address those needs, and having these apprenticeships is a great way to support the students, industry partners, and just everybody in the community as well.
Great. Thank you. I love all the love after everyone's responses. I want to talk a little bit about partnerships, right? So we've kind of gotten on the topic already, and we had some really great conversations before the panel started. But earlier this year, Ascendium, we developed a portfolio specifically around registered apprenticeship investments. And one of the priority goals of that portfolio is around building the registered apprenticeship ecosystem. So making sure that the right stakeholders are at the table, the right partners are involved, to make sure that apprenticeships are great for the employer, but also for the apprentice. And when we think about apprentices today, most people, well, I won't say most people, I won't project, but I used to think that most apprentices were like coming out of high school, and maybe this was like their first job, or they were enrolling into a training program for the first time. But if you look at the statistics, a large portion of apprentices are really like in their late 20s, early 30s. So a lot of apprentices are switching careers, maybe they're upskilling at their current job. And so would love to talk a little bit more about the importance of cross-sector partnerships, and why those partnerships are so important to helping apprentices enroll into a high-quality program and also complete a high-quality program. So I will pass it over to whoever Michael looks ready. So, yeah.
In our role at Boys and Girls Clubs, it's important, right? So we have to look at the entire ecosystem because one of the things I think as a community we fail sometimes, young people, when we don't create the financial infrastructure to be able to sustain programs. So when we looked at our apprenticeship program, we said, okay, how do we build an endowment that will financially be able to support these programs in perpetuity and past our lifetime? So we placed $10 million at the Madison Community Foundation to help support our workforce center. 2, we said that we would not go at this alone, right? So we actually pay and staff other nonprofit organizations that's in this space. And sometimes as nonprofit leaders, it can be very territorial, right? I'm in this space, I'm already doing this. So we said we would partner with WRTP Big Step. We would partner with the Latino Workforce Academy. We'll partner with MMSD. We'll partner with, who am I forgetting, Alan? Habitat for Humanity. Those are our core partners, and we hire their staff through the endowed funds to provide wraparound support for our young people. And then the third part of the ecosystem is the business community and educators, right? So we wanted to make sure that our board, when we created the Workforce Center, was governed by business leaders who would hire our young people. And a lot of times when you look at, particularly in the trades, people are aging out. and you think about like the HVAC portion of it, where I believe the average age of HVAC workers are 55, right? And so I want our young people to get into those jobs and make 70 and 80, $90,000 a year, and not be like Michael and Toya Johnson, where we got out of school and me and my wife had a combined student loan debt of $400,000, and it took us 25 years to pay that off, right? And so if we can get a high school student right out of school into a apprenticeship, and into a job, and have somebody to hire them from this community, is a huge win, not only for them, but their family. And when you look at construction costs, right? Since 2000, I was shocked to see this. I was at True Stage, and I was at a workshop, and construction costs in Dane County went up 41% in the last 5 years. 41%. And I have donors who are now landscapers who are multimillionaires, and donors who don't have any formal education but went into the trades, including one guy who used to be a foreman that worked for me when I ran facilities for the school district, who now runs one of the largest HVAC companies in the tri-state area, have almost 200 employees, African-American gentleman in his 40s with no formal education. So to me, the work that we're collectively doing is another pathway for our young people. And then finally, I would say, in America, we know that only about 51% of working age adults have college degrees. And if we know that, we have to invest in other opportunities, or we're going to pay through the criminal justice system, because young people will find other methods to survive. And I was one of those kids when I grew up in the projects. I had to decide whether or not I was going to go to work or I was going to stick somebody up. And for a short period of time, I played armed robbers on the west side of Chicago. And I'm thankful that it was organizations like this who steered me in the right direction. And that's what our young people need, not only in Dane County, but throughout the state of Wisconsin.
I love that you touched on that, because I'm going to speak on 2 points. One is the preparation for apprenticeship, which the Dane County Boys and Girls Clubs does an amazing job at, but then it's maintaining toward completion. So I'll give you a little statistic. About 70% of all apprentices that don't complete their apprenticeships, they don't complete the first year. That's of all that. So it's only 30% past the first year that don't complete, right? So what's happening there? Some of it is ill preparation. That's where the Boys and Girls Club comes in to give a bit of experience on what this life will look like. The other part is other minuscule things. I couldn't find childcare for a week. I couldn't afford the entry-level tools to get into this occupation. My car broke down for a week and I didn't have the money to repair it. My apprenticeship occupation, has a reimbursement model for the education. I couldn't afford to pay for it up front to get the reimbursement. Now, all of us in this room think that those are probably minuscule things that would stop a person from completing an entire apprenticeship. But again, 70% that don't complete the very first year of the apprenticeship. The other part is getting in. Now, for all of us in here that have children, we all are cognizant of this thing called screen time, right? And I grew up from a family in the trade. So my grandfather was a plumber. I'm a third generation plumber. So I grew up hanging out in the garage and hanging out at the plumbing shop and tinkering with stuff, right? Unfortunately, our young people are only tinkering with their thumbs on screens, and they're not getting that hands-on experience that the Dane County Boys and Girls Club can afford them, that would then prepare them to get into these different occupations. So we need programs like this to give our young people, and people, it doesn't matter the age, a short experience that will then prepare them for the occupation that they're about to get into. The other part of this conversation is a lot of our apprentices in the state of Wisconsin are incumbent employees. So for me, sitting in my seat, and I love the way that you framed it around ecosystem, if a person initially comes from a preparation program and gets a job in the field, but not the registered apprenticeship right away, that's still a win. Because a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, great employers that use the registered apprenticeship model as an upskilling model, they're employing these individuals and then using that employment to kind of suss out who is ready for the apprenticeship model and who will then be successful in completing the apprenticeship model. So we have to take those that actually enter into the work field of that occupation. Those are wins for us because we know the next step can absolutely be a registered apprenticeship.
And I'll kind of follow that with talking about the collaboration with Madison College, with the DWD, Bureau of Apprenticeship Standards. Workforce development, we're very fortunate to have be participating in the ABA 2 grant, so the Apprenticeship Building Across America 2 grant, and so working with SSM, and then being able to build with the support of the Wisconsin Technical College and, of course, the Madison College District Board and our accrediting bodies for our programs, to work with the surgical technology apprenticeship, the medical assistant apprenticeship. We have the ophthalmic assistant apprenticeship, and then we do have also a respiratory therapy apprenticeship as well. But to kind of follow with that, the wraparound support services that was discussed before, having that in the grant, so that is a great opportunity for an extra support system for the students if they need that extra childcare. But then also the support system that the college has to offer. We have the child care, we have the food resources, the IT support. So we have those extra pieces too, that as a higher education institution, that we can be able to help support them and continue them to hopefully get into that second year, as David was mentioning, so that they can then complete that apprenticeship program. So I think just that whole partnership, it is starting from that ground up and kind of building to have them move into great careers, to get that living wage, and then also just a rewarding profession for them. So.
Yeah, even the partnership, I know SSM Health, just from my perspective and my experience so far, has been with Madison College. It's been, excellent partnership. I just want to really highlight the communication, the regular communication, and the willingness to adapt on both sides. You can't just say, well, this is how we do it. We have to have those conversations of how to adapt things to make that registered apprentice design fit. On our side as the employer, we're taking our RN managers and our other team members and making them mentors and teachers on the job, supporting that apprentice. That's a very different role than simply orientating someone to a job. Mentoring is a different level of need and expectation, and so growing that within our team members is an intentional effort. So, and I just think that partnership, the engagement level that you feel from the partnerships that you have, it makes it a shared success with those apprentices coming across the finish line. So.
Perfect. I just got a couple of questions from the audience, and one is perfectly timed because it's actually our next question about what kinds of careers or new industries do we see emerging in registered apprenticeship. So I feel like, traditionally we've seen lots of registered apprenticeship in the trades or construction or even manufacturing. But I feel like, within the past couple of years, there have really been an emergence of new sectors and industries in the field. So, we've talked a lot today about healthcare. Would love to talk more about what that partnership looks like. but also thinking about any other new industries that you might be seeing across the state or nationally.
I'll answer quickly because I want to leave my comrades here room to answer. But outside of the amazing work that our healthcare providers and Madison College is doing around growing healthcare specific apprenticeships, one of the things that Wisconsin has endeavored over the past year is a teacher apprenticeship. We have a K-9 teacher apprenticeship already on the books. We have, I think, 9 apprentices statewide. We'll be working on a special ed apprenticeship for teachers. That's our next endeavor in the teacher apprenticeship. And one of the pivots that I made upon taking over the state agency was employing what we have 4 statewide apprenticeship outreach representatives. And their work is a bit different than our traditional apprenticeship training representatives because they are very specific to new occupations in apprenticeship. So their work is creating that buy-in and creating that relationship that it takes for a new employer or an employer to come in with a new occupation, because when someone is new to apprenticeship or there's a new occupation, you have to create buy-in. And you have to have that employer to fully understand what encompasses a registered apprenticeship and their responsibility and the apprentice's responsibility likewise. So when we deploy our apprenticeship outreach representatives, that helps us tremendously with on-time building at the speed of business of a new registered apprenticeship. A business being able to get in touch with them right away, build what they need, get it approved, get my stamp of approval, and then work with the colleges or whoever the education provider is to then deploy that apprenticeship right away, and that employer can hire apprentices. So for us, it's the big pivot into kind of on-time reaction, being able to turn around an apprenticeship really, really quickly when we can, outside of any regulatory issues, and building those new apprenticeships right away. And that has helped in the innovation of the new apprenticeships that was listed by my panel mate up here. But I'll leave the specifics to them. I know what they are, but I'll leave it to them so they can espouse on a lot of the new innovative apprenticeships that they're doing at SSM and at Madison College.
I guess I'll start with the registered apprenticeships that we are partnering with through the ABA 2 grant, which has really sparked these two, is our medical assistant and our surgical technologist through a partner with Madison College, and then of course the Workforce Development Board of South Central Wisconsin. Are the apprenticeships that we, and then also that not part of that particular grant is SSM Health also has the ophthalmic assistant, partnering again with educational partner of Madison College that was developed. So, I don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so with that, not only is it the apprenticeship that they are completing, but they're also completing the actual degree. So it is a degree-aligned apprenticeship. So they are getting that degree, they're getting the associate degree, they're getting that certification, they're also completing the apprenticeship, and they also then get to sit for the certification exam. So it is really a whole big full picture that they are getting with that. And so with that, they're able to kind of have that extra kind of added piece to that. And one thing too, we were kind of talking earlier is about, it's almost bringing awareness to these different healthcare fields too, that some might not know what the ophthalmic assistant, what that field is. And so it is bringing that awareness and also opening that up to other opportunities for individuals who may not have had any knowledge of what those industries were.
I'm just going to take a little bit of a different approach. I'll be turning 50 this year, and so I got probably about 15 more years in this game. And if I had it my way, when I think about our vision for Boys and Girls Clubs, when I was a kid, there was all kind of shops in our schools. And a lot of those things have gone away. in our public schools. And I would like to figure out a way to bring some of that stuff back, right? So just like we have a workforce center for the trades, there should be one for, and the schools are doing it now in Madison. Like you see automotive, there should be a site designated for healthcare. And I think about two young women that I just want to talk about because half of the kids that's in our program happen to be young women of color, which I think surprised a lot of our partners. And a lot of times it's about exposing and encouraging young people and presenting them with opportunity. And I'll talk about a young lady by the name of, if you Google her name, Spectrum News just did a story on her last week, a Boys and Girls Club kid by the name of Dr. Matiba Bojang, who went through our college preparatory program, talked about how she lacked confidence, and a teacher at West recommended that she go through our AVID program, which is a program that Ascendium has invested in years. She go through our program. About a month and a half ago, she invites me to her graduation. So much time has gone by, I thought she was graduating from college. And so my assistant was like, no, she's graduating from medical school. So Matiba is now Dr. Matiba. Matiba is now delivering babies at UW Health. She's been in that job for 1 month, and she's already delivered 41 babies. Now, think about if she did not have that opportunity, and when she finished her residency, her salary would be $300,000 north. And then I think about another young woman who went through our pre-apprenticeship program who was homeless. Alan, what was her first name? I won't share her last name. Tasha was homeless, moving from couch to couch. She went through our pre-apprenticeship program, got a job paying $27 an hour, and became the highest wage earner in the history of her family. And so think about what that means for her, what that means, the opportunities that she'll be able to create for her family. So we have to do a better job, in my opinion, investing more strategically in a variety of different opportunities that would expose our young people so they can go work at SSM and eventually become a coach or the president of their system, or to become the state director of a department. We have to figure out how we invest in them and not just let them idle by and graduate from high school to a pathway to nothing. And we've done that time and time and time again with so many of our young people. And some of it is simply because I was one of those young people. I raised hell in high school because I couldn't read, I couldn't write. And all I wanted to do was fight. And I was mad. But once I got into junior college and I learned how to read and I learned how to do math, I felt like I could conquer the world. And we have some smart young people in this city, in this state. And if we invest in them, if we support them, and most importantly, if we expose them to the right opportunities, our young people can do some phenomenal things in this community. And that's just two stories. I could tell you dozens and dozens of young people who've come from challenging circumstances, but because they were connected to the right people, they're doing phenomenal things.
So just to follow up on that and to highlight and brag the state's youth apprenticeship program, which I also have the honor to oversee at SSM Health, highlighting and supporting high school students in career pathways with hands-on experiences, and then they get their classroom instruction at the high schools. But what we have found as an employer, that it's an extremely employer-friendly model. It's well-designed. It's easy to scale across our whole Wisconsin system. It includes a wide range of pathways. We were easily able to get up to offering our youth 9 different career pathway opportunities, on which you can just in a fast or in an efficient and quick manner. Registered apprenticeships are the next step. They take a little more in-depth planning and partnership, but to engage able to engage a large number of youth across our state. We are in our second year of doing a regional system model in Wisconsin, and we currently have 130 youth apprentices that we've supported over the past 2 years. So we really want to grab those early talent and develop them early. And that leads them into possibly one, it could be a future registered apprentice if there's a next step prepared and ready. That does take time to prepare. Also, it could lead them into, an employee-sponsored training program that would, offer some financial supports and other opportunities that are more manageable. And also just, another another factor it can lead to is just setting that youth up to be more confident in what they choose for post-secondary education. So they're going and if they have, if there's a financial commitment, they feel more confident about that and know that that's a pathway that they want to be in. So really, Wisconsin has that. I just want to acknowledge that Wisconsin's really put a lot of time into that, and it really works for employers.
No, that's a nation-leading youth apprenticeship system. By the way, we had about 10,000 youth apprentices last year. We'll probably top 12,000 youth apprentices. So it is certainly a nation-leading youth apprenticeship system here in Wisconsin. And now that they've espoused about the new apprenticeships, there are a few of them that they didn't talk about. We're piloting dental assistant. We kicked that off earlier this summer. And then down in Milwaukee, our largest mass transit system in the state, they are piloting coach bus driver apprenticeship and coach bus mechanic apprenticeship. And the bus mechanic one is really, really cool. We actually built that one as a diesel mechanic apprenticeship, but we reformatted because the Milwaukee County Transit System purchased electric buses. So those apprentices will also be trained on repairing the electric buses and the diesel buses. So very, very cool projects that we've been able to kick off. And we would love to bring those two apprenticeships to Madison, by the way, if anyone's here.
The last thing I'll just add about emerging industries is that, at a national level, at a federal level, we're seeing lots of bipartisan support for registered apprenticeship, right? Like earlier this year in April, there was an executive order to increase the number of apprenticeships to 1 million within the next couple of years. And so I know nationally at Ascendium with our grant partners, we've been seeing registered apprenticeship in AI, lots of sort of like updated curriculum, registered apprenticeship around coding and IT. And so the workforce is changing, the sectors are changing, and so, workforce training and registered apprenticeship is also changing. I want to get to one other question that we had from the audience, which is very good. So this question says, is there a partnership with DOC? Some folks are in local facilities with 2.5 years to serve before being released. What a great opportunity for someone to do an apprenticeship before release. So I'll talk from an Ascendium standpoint, and then I will kick it over. David and Michael both look eager to answer this question. So at Ascendium, we have a couple of focus populations, one being currently and recently incarcerated learners. So we have lots of programs that we make investments into for currently incarcerated learners who have a couple of years left before they're outside of the walls. And recently, within the past year or so, we've seen lots of investment into pre-apprenticeship post-release. It is a really, really great innovative model where the learners that you talk about in this question are getting training in lots of different things, right? We have some coding registered apprenticeship. We have some advanced manufacturing registered apprenticeship, pre-apprenticeship programs inside the walls. Students are getting trained on machinery that has been donated, that's inside the walls, and are directly transitioning into a registered apprenticeship program. Some of them in the coding are making like low six figures when they are released into a registered apprenticeship program. So it is a really great innovative model. Would love to see the replication of that, in many other states and across different partners. But the one piece, which we have talked a lot about today, is that cross-sector partnership, and the partnership with the Department of Corrections and the training provider or the community college, making sure that everyone is on the same page and the learner is getting what they need and that they're prepared for the job once they are released. So I will kick it over to either David or Michael to add on.
So we have pre-apprenticeship, certified pre-apprenticeship programming in the different correctional facilities. We also have some registered apprenticeships within the correctional facilities. One of which we have a supply chain management registered apprenticeship in DOC. One of the things that is a hurdle is that unlike our technical college system where we work statewide with all 16 technical colleges, and they have a pretty well-oiled machine with as far as connectivity. Our different correctional facilities don't work that way. They are not connected in how we can procure programming. So it's very dependent upon that warden of that very particular correctional facility and how much they want to invest in different programming. So it's very disparate in what and how we can execute at the different facilities. But we do have programming across the state, varied programming in different facilities, both pre-apprenticeship and registered apprenticeship.
I can't go into a lot of details. The DOC just contacted us about a month ago, and I think we now have a signed agreement with them to include some of the youth who are some of the what do they call it? It's in Oak. Which one? Yeah, and so some of the young people from that academy will be coming over to our workforce center to participate in some of those classes. So that's developing, and we just, I think, finalized that about a week ago. But there's two things that I want to share about people who are formerly incarcerated and making connections to them. And one of our partners is the Black Men Coalition. And the gentleman that run that program or founded that program is somebody that I mentor. And when he got out of prison, you know, he had spent 10 years in the hole. His name is Corey Marino. And Corey came to me, and I think was looking for work at Boys and Girls Clubs. And I was listening to him. And I said, I don't have a problem with hiring you. I think you should start your own nonprofit. Corey started his own nonprofit 3-4 years ago. He now employs about 35, 40 people. He partnered with Cornell University, where I got about 6 or 7 HR certifications from them and HR management. And he's now got $2 million in commitments from them to give people who are either formerly incarcerated or who make under $75,000 a year an opportunity to get these free credentials, whether it's legal, HR. There's like 7 or 8 different tracks where these certifications cost $10,000 to $15,000 each. And people who are formerly incarcerated can now take advantage of those opportunities. So while that might not be an apprenticeship per se, it's an opportunity for somebody to gain another skill set. And then another partner that we have is the Focus Interruption Coalition. Boys and Girls Clubs founded that organization about 10 years ago when there was a lot of murders happening in our city. We had about 150 town hall meetings, and we brought people who were formerly incarcerated to help us create this plan for our city. And out of that came the Focus Interruption Coalition and this 15-point plan. And now Anthony Cooper, who is the CEO of that organization, has now hired about 25 formerly incarcerated individuals who are now doing peer intervention work, working with the police department, working with the community to bridge that gap. So I share those stories to say that we have to be creative and do the apprenticeships, but also look at ways that connect those communities back to those apprenticeships, because a lot of the kids that we work with have family members who are formerly incarcerated or are coming home, And we got to have connections to those families to make sure their home ecosystem, that we're aware of it and how we can not only support that child, but support the family members that's also in their home. And that's why at Boys and Girls Clubs, we took out of our mission. Our mission is no longer just to empower young people, it's to empower young people and their families. And if you do that the right way, you'll make our community stronger as a result of that.
Thank you. Okay, I think we are about 5 minutes over. So I do want to get the last question though. So in like 1 minute, 2 minutes or less, can you tell us who is a good fit for a registered apprenticeship? Whether as a learner or as an employer, like who should be participating? Who would it be a great opportunity for?
As far as a participant, it's an individual that is willing to learn. To be honest with you, committed and willing to learn. Like those are the two metrics for a specific apprentice. For an employer, it's an employer that's willing to invest, that sees a long-term return on investment in an individual. Those are the employers that are reaping the rewards of registered apprenticeship. If you have an expectation to make money off an employee from day one, they're there to learn, and you're not seeing that return. But if you're expecting a return year 3 of that person going through or completing, that's where employers are seeing their returns in registered apprenticeship.
Yeah, I agree with what David had said with students in the classroom having that dedication, and then also outside the classroom, and then knowing that they have that work commitment too as well. I do actually have a quote from a student who went through an apprenticeship just recently. It was actually an SSM student. And so she had said, receiving the education and about why and how things happen with the eyes allowed me to be better prepared to address patient questions and concerns. I found it very, very beneficial to take what I learned in classes and apply those skills in clinic. This program equipped me with the resources to successfully pass the certification exam and work as a skilled, knowledgeable technician. And so I think that's kind of says it there is what we are hoping for all individuals, and especially those that want the apprenticeships.
Yeah, I would just echo everything that was just said, and just add, I think the design of the registered apprentice, I just lost my thought. It combines that skilled technical teaching with the soft skills on the job at the same time, so they're not coming at it parallel, they're coming at it together. So I think that's key. We do need someone willing to learn, willing to work, but sometimes enhancing those soft skills and supporting and mentoring them is a piece of the project. So.
I'll just add quickly, somebody that's willing to show up and learn, right? To me, apprenticeships is an educational opportunity, and life is a lifelong educational opportunity. And so given the work that we do at Boys and Girls Club, exposing young people to those opportunities, and if they're willing to learn, they're willing to be humble and willing to be exposed, the opportunities that present itself.
Thank you all so much. I want to thank you all for sticking it out with us. Hopefully you learned a lot about registered apprenticeship, who is a good fit, who isn't. So I want to thank you. I also want to thank our panelists who are really, really great, experts in the field. And I will hand it over to Michael.
I just say thank you too. She came all the way from Washington, D.C. to do this panel, so you did a great job, and thank you for coming to Madison.
So I want to thank you all for coming. This was awesome. Rock star panel. Just give it up one more time, these people. Invite you to have a little more food if you're still hungry. And we've got Tony Evers tomorrow with David Marinus. And it's going to be an interesting discussion because Tony has a chance to be candid and not worry about anything. So It might be, we still have tickets available. So if you want to come out to Shannon Hall tomorrow and see Tony and David on stage, that'd be a cool thing. Thank you all for coming and enjoy the rest of the week.